Hello everyone, welcome to Bouchaine Bistro, created to showcase the great talents of our estate chef Martin and the beautiful wines from Bouchaine Vineyards. My name is Marija. I'm a certified sommelier, WCT advanced and certified specialist in wine, but even more important, I have a great passion for wine and food from around the world. Our kitchen already smells amazing since we have a very special ingredient, and if you have watched any of our previous shows, so you would know that the truffles are my absolute favorite. Marty, tell us more about the menu today.
So what we're doing today is we're taking some very, very simple dishes. We're going to add some very, very decadent ingredients and end up with a very decadent dish. So our secret ingredient, we have truffles, black winter truffles, so I'm not mistaken, a little bit of foie gras today. So the three dishes we're going to take. The first one we're going to be doing, which will be cooked throughout the meal, throughout this show, is going to be, we're going to take a call burgers au rossini. Tornadoes au rossini is a dish where you take a fillet of beef and you cook it with truffles, Madeira and truffles and mushrooms. We're going to do the same thing with a burger. We're going to have some burgers, some brioche buns, truffles, and foie gras. Should be an amazingly decadent burger. The next thing we're going to be making a pizza. Very simple pizza. It's going to be with mozzarella cheese, some burrata, fresh truffles, and arugula dressed with a little bit of olive oil and lemon juice. Again, the truffles are going to bring this into a whole different world. And last but not least, we're going to make a pasta, a really simple pasta. We're going to take some Saint Andre cheese, some butter, a little bit of fettuccine. We're going to swirl it all together, finish it with truffles. Again, really simple dishes made really delicate by one ingredient. So,
and we have three wines, Bouchaine wines selected for the pairing today. We have Reserve Chardonnay. We have our G Pinot Noir with the vintage 2016. And we have just released High Syrah. So we'll tell about this wines a little later and explain why we chose these wines for the pairing. I would also like to invite you to stay with us after the show and join the wine conversation with our wine expert, Robert Fisher. He'll be happy to respond to any questions you might have.
So let's get cooking. We're going to start with the burgers. Now we're going to do things at a couple different stages. The burgers actually don't take very long, but we're going to stretch it out a little bit because there are a number of steps with this particular dish. I have here 4 burgers. They're approximately ½ a pound each. Now, what's interesting on these particular burgers is that they are 70-30, 70% meat, 30% fat burgers. Now, there's been a lot of bad things written about fat, and let's be faced, you know, it's not the greatest thing to eat in a lot of huge quantity. However, all your food flavors come from fat and salt being added to things. And the truth of the matter is a 70-30 burger tastes a lot better than a 95-5 burger. 95-5 burger is going to be a lot rougher. It's going to be coarser. It's not going to feel the same in the mouth. It's also going to be a lot more crumbly. You might want to add eggs and stuff to it to add a little bit of flavor. You don't have to do that with 30% fat. So we're going to use these burgers today.
And we're using really simple, just the salt and pepper. When a truffle is in the kitchen, it's all about the truffle. So every dish you make is there to highlight the truffle. So we are not using any intense aromas, spices, nothing to overwhelm, right? So it's all about the truffle.
You notice all these are actually fairly simple dishes. We're going to let the decadent ingredient come and scream through. So let's go over here to our stove. First thing I'm going to do, a little salt and pepper on the burgers. A little fresh ground pepper. Now here's another little element of luxuriousness, duck fat. Rendered duck fat is just one of the greatest things to cook with ever invented.
Absolutely, duck fat, potatoes, but in general, truffles really like fat. Pretty simple, basic flavors, duck fat, cream, cheese, pasta, risotto.
Yeah, it's...
And for how long will you
we're going to go about 5 minutes about 5 minutes on each side, not very long. And again, a little salt and pepper on the burger.
And while Mark is preparing the burgers, I will tell you a little more about the truffles in general. Truffles have been admired and enjoyed for thousands of years since Roman times. But what the truffles really are, even if you look at the oldest cooking book ever published, called Cooking with the Species, that dates from the 1st century, you can find 5 recipes for truffles. So truffle is a fungus. It's growing wild underground. You can find it across Europe. Some in recent years in Australia, Tasmania, New Zealand, a little bit in South America, like Chile, even in North Africa, there is also the desert truffle. But ones that we are the best known will be the black truffle. That's one we have today. It's also called the black winter truffle or tuber melanosporum. Then we have, and it's also called Périgord truffles. It refers to France, but besides the Périgord part of France, you can find it across Europe, including Spain. Then we have white truffles, also called Alba truffle, but besides Italy, it can be found also in Hungary, Croatia, Italy, across Europe as well. Truffles are very seasonal. They grow always in a symbiosis with the host tree. That can be oak, hazelnut, poplar, linden. They really require specific microterroir, different soil, microclimate. They really rely on a summer rain and thunderstorms. And that's why they grow so nicely in Europe. And besides these 2 main truffle types, there are a lot of others, like a summer truffle, Tuber aestivum, Burgundy, Tuber uncinatum. They look a little different. So this outside wall, it's called peridium. So the Burgundy truffle will have very rough outside wall, looks like a little diamond, while black truffle will be a little more silky. Then there is Tuber macrosporum, which has actually, it's called black smooth truffle, looks like a suede. Then this inside part, right, the face of the truffle where it cut is called gleba. And based on that, you can identify different types of truffle. Burgundy and salmon truffle are a little milder in flavor, and they look more like a light brown color. Black truffle will be darker depending on maturity, and will have these white veins. When exposed to air, it can turn a little pink. White truffle will be much lighter, more like kind of ivory beige color. Then there is bianchetti. So white truffle season just finished. Now we have black truffle, and bianchetti is coming soon. Great thing is that Australian truffles, when winter is in Australia, it's summer here, so we can enjoy basically truffle all year round, but the different kinds. Something that connects them all, it's their earthy aroma. For me, idea of earthiness is a truffle. You really feel like it's walking through the forest. And the black truffle had that kind of hazelnut, sometimes with chocolate, cognac, but all the forest floor aroma. White truffle get a little more that kind of umami, Parmesan, pronounced flavor.
I always find aged Burgundies or aged Chardonnays really get that truffle smell to them.
Exactly, and that's why we choose wines with the age to pair with the truffles, because aroma of the truffle is earthiness, and the young wines, have often like really pronounced fruit aroma. So by aging, wine is changing and losing the fruit note character and gain more earthy notes. That's truffle, mushroom, cedar, leather. So it will really match nicely with the truffle. You also don't want a wine with a lot of tannins, oak, alcohol. It's all about the balance. They should complement each other, wine and your truffle dish, not to overpower.
So while burgers are cooking, I stretched out a little pizza dough here. It's a 12-inch pizza, personal size pizza. I used Trader Joe's pizza dough. You can find commercial pizza dough at Trader Joe's. I know Safeway sells, everybody sells it. Or you can make your own. Your choice on this one. Pizza dough, as I found out, it's not terribly expensive, so that's why I went for it. Anyway, so I have a little tray, a little pizza dough here. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on here. I like olive oil on my pizza dough. I think it adds a little flavor to it. It also adds a little crispiness to the dough itself.
And we use the Talcott olive oil, which is,
yes, which we make.
We have a 3,000 olive trees here on the property, organically made. It's a really nice, very intense in aroma.
Now, a little thing about pizza dough. Pizza dough is really sticky. On this one, I used a little bit of polenta or cornmeal, so it'll slip off the skin when I do it. So I got here a little mozzarella. We're just gonna put a little mozzarella on here to start here, and we're gonna finish it off with a burrata.
And then we'll bring pizza to another level, shaving some truffles
on
over it.
And put a little arugula dress with a little touch of olive oil and lemon juice. Should be an interesting pizza. So I'm gonna put this in the oven.
And for how long?
This one's gonna go.
It's not to say until it's done, but sometimes knowing how many minutes will actually help.
I'm gonna say this round about 5 minutes. And while that's doing that, I'm going to flip my burgers. As you see, you got a beautiful, beautiful crust on them.
Oh, that was great. They smell amazing, too.
Oh, duck fat. I worked at a restaurant. We used to use duck fat to make chicken breast on. It was fantastic. We used to put a couple slices of truffle underneath the skin, cook them in duck fat. It was heavenly.
You just need a nice glass of Barolo and.
Well, it was a French chef, and he was into Burgundies, but that was Laurent.
There is a saying, "What grows together goes together," and Mark and I really follow that often because it works perfectly. And some of the classic pairings, when you look for the truffle dish and wine pairing, will be if you go to Piedmont, truffles and Nebbiolo, some aged Barolo. It's a very classic and delicious pairing. Burgundy, white and red, works both well. Some nice Brunello, H9 but don't be afraid to explore. I think there are a lot of great wines. As we said, lighter wines, a little more earthy notes with some age in it, or Bordeaux. Because, and if you want a Cabernet from Napa Valley, since we're in the valley, I will go with something that is 15, 20 years old. Young Cabernets can be really overpowering. You
want a little bit of age on it because you don't want those fruits, those acids to really come up and hit you, because that's going to detract from the truffle itself. You want a little bit more of those barrel notes, bottle notes, excuse me. You want a little bit more of that truffle flavor in the wine, because you want it to meld with the truffle, not fight the truffle.
Exactly. I mean, we never fight a truffle.
As hot as you can get it. The question was how
400 or more.
I would do. Ours is on right now 475. Pizza ovens need to be really hot because you want that pizza done fast. You don't want to have it steam the crust. We're only going to cook it for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to check it in a minute. Meanwhile that's being done, we're going to start our pasta here. This is a little bit of fresh fettuccine. You can use a dry pasta. You can use dry pasta. You can use fresh pasta. It's all a matter of what you're into.
At pasta, it's really great when you work with the truffles, because truffles are bad too.
Yeah, that's the reason I chose the fresh pasta. The other thing is also on the show, the fresh pasta cooks faster. I mean, if nothing else. And there's also things when you're dealing with, again, the egg pasta with dry pasta. It doesn't have the egg in it. I don't think it goes as well with the truffle.
Perfect with the truffle.
So we got water boiling here on the stove. We're going to put the pasta in. So while that's doing, I'm going to go check on my pizza.
When you really cook with a truffle, you really want to cook very simple. As I said, nice risotto. And something interesting is when you have a black and white truffle. White truffles are very delicate. They're very pronounced in aroma, but they should never be cooked with. Because that will ruin their beautiful aroma. So you want to serve it over the warm dish, like over warm risotto, warm pasta, warm potatoes. So that will help to release the aroma, but never cook with it. While black truffles are a little more intense, more robust, so they're great to cook with, so a little more versatile. One of my favorite recipes, and super easy to make, is to slice the fresh black truffles, put under the chicken skin with some Madeira and butter, marinate for 24 hours, and you will get the most amazing chicken. But you can also make grilled cheese with the truffles. You can, do the duck fried potatoes. What are your favorite recipes? The duck confit, duck breast. I think duck really works well with a truffle.
I think so. I think venison will work well with truffle too. Beef with truffle. I mean, the classic Tornado's Rossini. I mean, like
exactly. We have that actually.
When I was at Canton Place, we actually did beef Wellington. We stuffed it with truffles.
Oh, that sounds great.
We used foie gras and truffles on this particular dish. It was outstanding. It was really, really good.
And there is a lot of kind of prejudice about the truffles. It always has to be expensive. And yes, if you buy a big white truffle,
thousands of dollars.
Yes, the biggest one I had was 1.5 pounds, and of course it's more mature. It's bigger. Aroma is amazing. But you can enjoy truffles and buy just 1 or 2 ounces. 1 ounce will be like 3 to 4 servings. For me, probably more, but
$100, but
and you can still enjoy it. Mainly with different dishes. You can store your fresh truffle next to the eggs overnight, and you will get an amazing omelet in the morning and shave over it, or next to the butter, you get a truffle butter.
If you ever get to Italy, Italy in the fall is truffle season. We had truffles up and down Italy, but one of the most amazing things is in the town of Alba, which is where the center of white truffle production or white truffle farming is. You don't produce truffles. And the town alternately smells from chocolate and truffles. And it's also the home of Ferrari chocolate Nutella. And every couple of hours, they blow out their chocolate tanks.
So you just cancel your return flight and stay there forever.
There you go. Anyway, let's go look at the burgers. So these burgers are pretty done. I'm going to hold them in a 160-degree oven while we make our sauce. They're about 120 degrees on the inside, medium rare. We're going to hold them for a few minutes here in our trusty Alto-Shaam. So.
And how is the pasta doing? We are looking for al dente pasta, right? We don't want to cook pasta too much.
No.
It should be al dente.
Al dente. Pasta's probably almost done right now. After the burger, here's something to be very careful about. We're going to put some Madeira into this. It will flame up. So you hold it away from you.
Name this dish so you can never have too many truffles. You can apply this thing to the cheese and Madeira.
And you're going to basically cook this Madeira down until it's almost non-existent. And we're going to put a little bit of our demi-glaze in there.
Did you make the demi-glaze or?
No, I bought the demi-glaze. You can make demi-glaze. Very difficult. Takes about 4 days. A number of places to buy it. There's a brand called More Than Gourmet, available. Whole Foods, I think, carries it. I know a couple local stores around our house carry it. You can buy it online, and it's a concentrate that you can reconstitute. Very nice product. Also very reasonable.
It has a kind of savory note to really intensify it.
So as you can see here, this is almost done. We're just going to throw a little bit of this in. Bring it up to a boil and go look at our pasta. So I'm going to put this on the back burner here. Doesn't want to work. There we go.
Would you like to add some truffles to the sauce?
We're going to let it reduce first. So while that's reducing, we're going to, excuse me, I got to get my mitt here. While that's reducing, we're going to take some of this pasta water. I'm going to pull it off to the side.
You always want to save that starchy pasta water for later, right?
Oh, by all means.
That's an important part. And we were just talking about that during the last classic Roman pasta.
Yeah, it adds something to it all. Excuse me.
Something that can come often as a question is what to do when you order the truffle, right? So truffle, as soon as it leaves the ground, truffle start losing the aroma and evaporates as well. So what is the best way to preserve? So you just got your truffle in mail. You should, as soon as you receive your truffle, you should take a paper towel, wrap in it, and put in a glass container. Truffle doesn't really like the plastic, so do the glass and put in a fridge. So that would be the best way to preserve your truffle. Not in the coldest part of the fridge, and the paper towel should be changed daily. As I said, you can put some butter around it. You can do the jar of honey. You can do the eggs. That's my favorite thing because eggs are porous. They really infuse the aroma. So you'll get really nice almonds next morning, and then you can just shave a little more truffles over it.
Oh, Maria's been, in truffles, we put the pasta back in on a very low light with some butter, and I'm using St. Andre cheese. You want a thin, you want a really...
So St. Andre is a triple cream cheese.
Very rich.
Where you need really rich cheese with a lot of fat. St. Andre, Brioche Savarin. Any other suggestion?
I put a little bit of pasta water back in there. We're going to make a sauce. We're going to melt this nice, delicious St. Andre, and you're just going to get a rich creaminess on this.
Avoid any pungent cheeses. As I said, you still want a pretty neutral base for your truffle.
Pizza is almost ready for the burrata.
The sauce smells amazing. The Madeira and the glaze. How long you should wait for the sauce? It's almost changes the texture. It's more dense right now.
You want it to reduce by about half. It's almost done right now. But let us get a plate for the pasta. See, it's like this beautiful creaminess on top of this.
Yeah, it looks like creamy and silky as well. And the starchy water you added really helps.
Yeah, itself.
Besides the cheese and butter.
Gives it a little structure. You're going to find it's very common in Roman cooking. We talked about that last week, actually. That's ready for truffles.
And so you want to do thinner slices because it will release more aroma. And this is a perfect time to do it because the pasta is hot. So that will really help to release all this beautiful flavor from the truffle. If you ask me when, like when you shave the cheese, I will say never. I will never say when with the cheese or truffle.
So this is burrata. Burrata is basically fresh mozzarella that's been soaked in cream. So we're talking pretty rich stuff here. We're just going to put it on top of this, spread it out real well here. And as you can see, and we're going to put this back in the oven.
I think our cameramen, our guys behind the scene are very impatient to try all the food.
So while that's happening, we are going to finish our sauce for the burgers. I'm going to get a pan hot right there. So I have here a little bit of demi-glaze with a little bit of cornstarch. We use that to thicken the sauce.
It's pretty liquid, right?
Yeah, it's pretty liquid. So we're going to put that into the sauce.
So why are we adding that? That will kind of make it more dense. Okay.
We're just going to bring it to a boil and cut it out, and then we'll add the truffles.
Okay.
Well, that's coming to a boil. We got one more thing to do here. And we are going to take our brioche rolls. Now, you can use a good hamburger roll. We're lucky here in Northern California. That's what I'm looking for. That we have access to bakeries that make brioche buns, which are really good. Just butter a little bit. We're just going to put them into the oven.
So a lot of butter, cheese, pasta.
Yeah. Also, all the good
ingredients today. Foie gras.
Well, you talk about fat. We got butter fat. We got cream. We've got cheese. We have everything here.
And that's why we also need a wine with a bright and crisp acidity to cut through all the richness, through all these dishes.
I'm going to do one dish for my diet for the week. I have like my entire fat content in one meal.
No regret.
Well, you know, there's such a thing as it being worth it. There's, you know, bad food with calories is not worth the calories. And whereas you're dealing with this, I can smell the pot, I can smell the truffles.
Oh,
We're dealing with this, I think this is definitely worth the calories. Okay.
Look forward to try with our wines later too.
Oh yeah.
We'd like to try the truffles to
The truffles in there.
I'm just gonna add the truffles to the pan. So I shaved them earlier. We need more.
Yeah, a few more in there. That's good. Now we're just going to let them sit. And we're going to do a little bit of fagua. So we have the fagua over here. We're almost done with this. A little salt and pepper. Now, if you've been following us with fagua, fagua does not need to be cooked very long.
It's a really quick sear on a very hot pan, right?
Very hot pan, no oil.
It already has so much fat, you don't need any oil.
Oh, it's mostly fat. We're talking like a minute on each side at the most. That there. And you also should have a plate set up with some towels to take the fagua after it's finished. So while that's searing, we're going to go get our pizza out. Should be almost done.
So just a few minutes, right, from each side.
That's it.
When you make a classical tomato zucchini, not the burger, what kind of meat do you use? What cut?
We use a filet mignon.
And while Mark is finishing foie gras, I can tell a little more about the Bouchaine Vineyards. So we're located in Napa Valley, but we're in the most southern part of the valley and the coolest part as well. So unlike the northern part, focused on Cabernet Sauvignon and other border varieties, here in Carneros, we actually grow cooler climate grapes, still only about 30 miles away from San Francisco. So we receive a lot of cold influence from San Francisco Bay. A lot of fog rolls here in the morning. So varieties we grow here are Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc, Riesling, Pinot Meunier. So we make about 20 different wines. We have about 100 acres here on the property, 88 plenty with the grape wines. And something that connects all of them is that our philosophy is to make the terroir-driven wines. Wines that really speak of a sense of place, of the soil, elevation, sun exposure, particular place where our vineyards are. And we hope to welcome you all here in the near future.
So that is our pizza with a burrata on there. And I'm going to leave you the job of putting the truffles on to finish it.
I'm very tough for top to save all these truffles. Yeah, let's try the other one. But the truffles, no. And you know, even the same kind of truffle, like black truffle, they can all still have differences in a smell and intensity depending on maturity, depending also on the tree they grow to. And here is our delicious truffle pizza. Of course, you can always add more.
So we're going to take a little bit of arugula here, just because I like arugula. I get a tongue. And we are going to take a little bit of lemon juice. Just a little bit. You don't want much, just a little dress it. A little touch of olive oil. That's our Talcott oil, of course.
That's a little color too.
Yeah, well, that's the main. We're just going to put a little bit out there in the middle. And there you go.
Our second dish, and we just have a burgers. I think sauce is ready.
So what I did, I took the leftover fat from the foie gras and put it into the sauce. So let us go get our buns out. Oh, that's hot.
We have the butter melted.
Melted butter on here. Just one, just no, the bottoms, the bottoms.
On the bottom. Okay.
Take this one right here. And we're going to get our burgers out. What I do with the pan, what I do with my pot holder. Here it is. Sometimes my head wasn't attached, you know that.
But to make all these three dishes didn't really take a long time. So this is pretty
You too. So we're going to put a little bit of put a burger on each bun here. Now the pièce de résistance.
nice. You thought that it couldn't get more fatty. Now you get more of the delicious foie gras.
We're not done yet.
And then one ingredient.
Highly reduced. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, Madeira dark fat glaze sauce, right? It smells really concentrated.
It is really concentrated.
No shame on truffles. As I said, black truffle is a little more versatile. You can cook with it, you can bake. Which one is your favorite truffle?
White. A little bit of risotto.
Yeah, the white season, actually, season for the white truffle just finished. It was really great this year. If you travel to Europe during the truffle season, Italy, Croatia, Hungary, Serbia, Spain for a black truffle, you'll be in for a treat because they put truffle over everything.
So we got burgers, pizza, and pasta. So I guess we get to try it now. Cut one of these burgers in half, yeah.
Do you have any preference when it comes to the pairings?
I don't know. I think they're all going to go well with Syrah, obviously, with the
Syrah, because Syrah is the most powerful. It's still pretty young. It's my favorite vineyard, one of my favorite vineyards here in Canaries Heights. I think that one I will definitely pair with a burger and foie gras because that will be the richest dish. I think Chardonnay Reserve, that is also the richer, will go well with the pasta and with the pizza, as well as the G Pinot Noir. Well, like a lemon note, kind of lemon curd.
Yeah.
Nice, a little tropical as well. Kind of pineapple, melon.
So which one would you do the reserve Chardonnay with?
I would definitely start with the pasta and reserve Chardonnay. Reserve Chardonnay is really rich, has like nice fresh acidity, but it also has some creaminess on the palate. And the pasta is also rich from the cheese and the butter. So I think that would be a really nice complementary pairing where you're matching the same texture.
Good.
Older Chardonnays, like aged Burgundy, will really work well because that wine will also develop like earthy notes that will match well with the truffles. Which one are you tasting? The Chardonnay?
Chardonnay with the pasta.
What do you think?
I think it's a very good match. Actually, Chardonnay with pasta, so I wouldn't go any heavier with the wine.
Okay.
I wouldn't go any heavier with the wine. I'd stay with.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful. Beautiful match. Pretty simple pasta, a little truffle in it with the Chardonnay. I think it goes really nice.
Yeah.
I can see without the high Chardonnay as well.
Yeah. High Chardonnay is not going to be as buttery as this.
Still, I think it's a richer, fuller body than I know there's some lighter styles.
So I'm going to do a little G with that pizza.
So G Pinot Noir, we chose 2016 vintage. It's a vineyard located in Caneros as well.
Across the street from us.
Dry farm, so you get a little more fruit concentration. Old wine, it also means the yield goes down, so you get a little better fruit quality, but smaller quantity. This wine already has its tertiary aromas, right? Well, cedar, mushroom, forest floor. So it's really, and it can still age. I would still age longer the G Pinot. Of course, feel free to ask any questions about the truffles, the wine, or any dish that Martin made today.
One of the little known facts, you have pizza in Europe, they don't slice it. They hand you the pizza and you cut it with a knife and a fork.
Okay. You're more creative here.
Well, the thing is also in Europe, at least in Italy, they have like these pizza shops where you buy your pizza by the pound. They weigh it and that's how you buy it. And that's when you get the slices. The whole pizza's their individual service. What do you think?
I like it. I think also pizza and Chardonnay will go well as well.
Let's give it a shot.
And when we do the wine and pairing, we always suggest to taste wine first on its own, then food and wine again. That's the best way to see really how they complement each other. I already tasted Hyde Syrah. It's a really beautiful wine, definitely climate Syrah. You get a lot of that floral notes, like the violets, lavender, dark fruits, blackberry, a little smoky, has some little meaty character as well. I think it will really go beautifully with this dish today. Also great with like lemon, rosemary, slightly richer dish that will pair well. Oh. Cheeses.
Here goes with this burger.
Oh, this sauce is amazing. And the truffle, it's really complex, a lot of flavors here. And that's why we choose the wine that has a little more tannin. It's not a lot, but still, and salt, fat, protein really make tannin softer. So anytime you have like richer wine, that would be the safe pairing. Also salt from the food intensify the flavors in the wine as well.
Anybody have any questions about food, pairings, truffles, foie gras? Oh, guess not. We're going to be taking a break next week. We're not going to be broadcasting next week. We'll be back the week after dealing with Spanish truffles, Spanish tapas.
Truffles.
Spanish truffles.
They're delicious. A lot of black truffles in Spain, not something that, you know.
Take your word on it.
Yeah.
Didn't have them when I was there, but anyway.
Reason to
cheers.
Go back.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
See you then in 2 weeks. please stay with us. And
Rob is going to be in a
continue
couple
my
minutes.
conversation with Rob.
We'll be talking wine with you in a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers, everyone.